good afternoon, everyone. I hope you all are doing well and you are doing your best preparation for your exam. So, today, the very important topic, which is oxygen dissociation curve, we are going to take. So, which will be helping you as for your exam as well as for your test wherever you are doing the preparation. So, it will help you in that. So first of all, let us start with a good spread, like how the oxygen dissociation curve is working. So first of all, we should know that at the tissue level, okay, and at the alveoli level, what are the conditions? Okay, at the tissue and at the alveoli level, what are the conditions? So because of that, the graph is shifting or the curve is shifting to the right or the left. What is the meaning of that right or the left shift? First of all, so actually at the tissue level, we know that metabolic reaction is going on, so because of that CO2 concentration is always increasing. Okay, this is because of the metabolic activities. So as the metabolic activities or the metabolic reactions are going on, so in that the waste product is the CO2. So because of that CO2, the concentration of the CO2 is increasing into the tissues, which has to be removed with as a waste product. But for this metabolic reaction, what is needed? O2 is necessary. Okay, so O2 is required actually. So we should need the oxygen. Okay, needed oxygen for the metabolic reaction, and as a waste product, what is releasing? CO2 is releasing. So CO2 concentration is increasing in each and every step of the metabolic reaction, right? So here, and now let's see if the CO2 is increasing, so but obviously there would be the high temperature also would be there. Temperature is increasing in the tissues. Okay, if the temperature is increasing and CO2 is increasing, so in every step of the CO2 there would be H positive concentration also increasing, which will be causing the pH to become completely decrease, or the acidic pH, right? So because of this acidic pH, there would be the acidic environment at the tissue level, which will cause the curve to shift to the right side. So let's see how. First of all, the pH, as we have seen, the pH is actually decreasing. So because of the low pH, there would be the acidic environment, and the temperature and the CO2 and the oxygen is low. In the tissue level, oxygen is low because it is needed in every step, so only the metabolic reaction would be going on. Okay, and then the next term is, which is that also not given in our NCRT, but it is important, like the bisphosphoglycerate. So bisphosphoglycerate will cause the lowers the it will cause the lowering of the association of the CO2 with the HB. So lower the association capacity of HbO2. Okay, so this will be causing the HbO2 to become dissociate, right? So in that case, the bisphosphoglycerate will be also increasing in the tissue level. So these are the terms, like high bisphosphoglycerate, high H positive, which will cause the low pH, and high temperature, and the high CO2, and the low oxygen. So these few are the conditions which is actually going to happen into the tissue level, as on the tissue level. Let's see about the alveoli. In the alveoli, the pH will become not low, it will become increased, means it will become basic. Okay, the pH will become basic, and H positive will, because of the H positive is decreasing, so because of that the pH is actually acidic, become positive, basic, as you know already. Okay, and the temperature in the tissues will become low. Okay, temperature will become low, and bisphosphoglycerate will become low. It should be low because the low bisphosphoglycerate will cause the association of HbO2. Okay, it will cause the increased association of the HbO2. So if the low BPG would be there, so because of the low BPG, the association of the Hb with the O2 will become increasing. That affinity of the Hb with the O2 will become increasing. And then the temperature, we have seen CO2 concentration would be low here. Okay, and oxygen would be very high. Oxygen would be high, CO2 would be low. In the alveoli, we know oxygen is high and the CO2 will become low here. Okay, so these are the conditions which is actually causing the curve to become shift into the left side. In the alveoli, these conditions are happening, which will cause the left shift of the curve. but in the alveoli, in the tissues, these all condition would be there, because of which the curve will become shift to the right. So we will call it as a right shift. Okay, so let's see in this figure, and then we will understand that how this all is actually going to happen. This is the normal curve we have seen, and this is the x-axis, this would be the y-axis. In the x-axis we have seen the partial pressure of the oxygen is in the mmHg. This is causing the oxygen dissociation curve. Why it is causing oxygen dissociation curve? Because of few factors which we have seen. These factors will be causing the dissociation of the Hb with the O2. Means this is going to happen like Hb plus O2 will form the HbO2. So this is the oxygen and the Hb association. So this is actually the association, right? And it is happening into the alveoli, and this is actually the dissociation, it is happening into the tissues. Okay, so oxygen is associated with the Hb or oxygen is dissociated with the Hb. These all are depend upon these few factors which we have seen in these terms. So if the dissociation is actually happening into the tissues, dissociation is happening into the tissues, while the association is happening into the alveoli. So it is just like we are using a driver to drop or pick the to us or to anyone. So from the spot, the driver will be carrying that person, like from the alveoli, the Hb is the just like a driver. Okay, it will hold the oxygen from the alveoli. Okay, and it will go to the tissues via the blood. In the RBC it is all happening into the tissues. This Hb will drop down the O2, it will give the O2 to the tissues, and in revert it will take the CO2, it will take the CO2, and then again it will go to the alveoli, it will drop the CO2, and in revert it will take the O2, in revert again it will take the O2, sorry CO2. Okay, so this is what going to happen. CO2 it is dropping and O2 it is taking. O2 it is taking. So this is what going to happen in between the alveoli and the tissues. So here we can say like the tissues and the alveoli, these are the two terms which is showing the association as well as the dissociation. In between these two, one driver is there, which is a hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is what? It is a tetramer structure. It is a tetramer of the 4 chains, 2 alpha and the 2 beta, which is going to work as a vehicle, as a driver to drop the oxygen from the alveoli to the tissues and to drop the CO2 from the tissues to the alveoli. And on which factor it is all happening? On the basis of the few factors in the tissues. These are the factors which is going to dissociate the Hb with the O2, and in the alveoli, these are the factors which will causing the association of the Hb with the O2. So here let's see what is going to happen here. In the alveoli, HbO2 will be forming, right? And into the tissues, Hb plus O2 will be forming. Okay, means dissociation of the Hb with the O2. Okay, in the alveoli, HbO2 association, in the tissues HbO2 dissociation. So here in this graph, let's see the partial pressure of the oxygen, which is oxygen dissociation curve. So here in the x-axis, on the x-axis we can see few numbers, 20, 40, 60, 80 or the 100. So these are actually the partial pressure of the oxygen. As the partial pressure of the oxygen is increasing in the environment, so it will cause the association of the Hb with the O2. So this is the y-axis in which the saturation, percentage saturation of the hemoglobin with the oxygen, which means the Hb with the O2. We are not saying that Hb is present, okay, O2 is present, okay, but if they are not associating, then there would be no use for the transportation, because if the association of the Hb with the O2 is happening, then only the transportation would be possible. If Hb is present in the environment, O2 is present in the environment, but even there is no association, so in that case there would be no transportation, right? So for that, what we have to do? For that, we should know that percentage saturation for the HbO2. Saturation here means the association of the Hb with the O2. And here as the oxygen concentration is increasing in the environment, so the Hb will be holding the O2 and then it will transport it to the tissues or to the alveoli. It is all depend upon the conditions. Now let's see, this is the basic line which is indicating the basic factor, like on the percentage is increasing of the O2, so the Hb is also present in the environment in these few terms. Okay, so first of all, what is happening at the tissue level? This line is indicating the tissues, right? These are the tissues. Okay, and here it is indicating the above line which is indicating the alveoli. Okay, here the oxygen percentage is present. Okay, so this is indicating the, as it is increasing, so it would be the alveoli, as it is decreasing, it is indicating the tissues. So on what factors it is actually going to associate and the dissociate, let's see. So first of all, at the tissue level, what is going to happen in the tissues? In the tissues, we should know that oxygen concentration is obviously low, but here we can see that at the partial pressure of the oxygen, as the partial pressure of the oxygen is increasing here, percentage oxygen is there, oxygen is present in the tissues, because in every step the CO2 is dissociating from the Hb in the tissues, but the oxygen is actually dissociating, but the CO2 is also associating with that. So in that only the exchanging is happening now. So at the tissues level, what is happening? It is going to increase the oxygen concentration, as according to this graph is increasing. Okay, but the CO2 percentage is increasing. CO2 at the tissues level will be high. Okay, temperature we have seen will be high. Okay, as well as the H positive was also decreased, because of which the pH will become increased. Okay, sorry, H positive would become increasing. So because of that, just a moment. Yeah, okay, so as the H positive was actually increasing, because of that the pH was become low, means acidic, pH was become acidic, and the oxygen concentration was low in the environment. We are not talking about to the graph, we are talking that oxygen concentration in the tissues was low. So these are the factors because of which the graph is actually going to dissociate from the Hb. It will cause the Hb plus O2, means dissociation of the Hb with the O2. So the Hb, the driver, will become free now to take the CO2, because it has been dropped the oxygen to the tissues. Now it can take the CO2. Now what will happen here? The O2 is dissociated, so it is indicating that it is the dissociation. But into the tissues, what is happening at the alveoli, the oxygen concentration we know is very high, temperature will become low. Okay, at the tissue, at the alveoli, temperature is low. Okay, as well as here the CO2 concentration was actually low. Okay, and H positive was low, because of which the pH was increasing, and the pH increasing means we know it is a basic pH. So in these few conditions, few factors, Hb will become associate with the O2, so it will form HbO2. At the alveoli it was forming HbO2, and at the tissues it was forming Hb plus O2. So here we can see this line is not in the straight condition, it is tilting towards the left side. So this red line, which was in the normal case given in our NCERT, so this is already indicating the left shift in this graph. Okay, so again I showed you with the help of these few factors, which is indicating that how it is actually showing the association or the dissociation of the Hb and O2, Hb, O2, or the Hb and O2 at the tissues and into the alveoli, right? Now, so this side is known as the right shift, and this which is shifting to the left side, it is the left shift. It is actually given by the Haldane scientists, so we will call it as the Haldane effect. Left shift also known as Haldane effect, while the right side also known as the Bohr effect, given by the Bohr scientists. So it is also known as the Bohr's effect. So these are the terms. So basic term we have seen, it will help you that how the association and the dissociation is actually happening into the tissues as well as into the alveoli. Okay, so I hope this would be clear to you. Now the next term, that how the association is actually happening with the Hb, how the CO2 is actually dissolving, because in the blood we know that this is the blood vessel. Okay, and here, sorry, this is the blood vessel. Okay, and in this blood we knows very well the blood is not only the fluid, the blood is actually having the plasma as well as the formed elements. In the plasma we are having the RBC, this is the RBC. Okay, and inside the RBC we have seen the hemoglobin, which will be actually making the association or the dissociation of the O2 and the CO2, whether in the tissues or in the alveoli. But here this is the RBC, and this would be the blood plasma. Okay, so this would be the plasma. So in the plasma, how much oxygen or the CO2 is dissolving, and into the RBC, how much oxygen and CO2 would be holding by the hemoglobin. In the RBC there is also some plasma, there is also some cytoplasm, that how the O2 and the CO2 will become dissolved in it. So their percentage also we should know, that how and in what way it is transporting. So the transportation we have to see. So the transport of oxygen and CO2, that is also important, from alveoli to the tissues or tissues to the alveoli. So these two few factors also we should know, which we are going to see into the next part. Okay, this is actually going to very important for you to understand that complete mechanism. Okay, so in the next part I am going to show you the complete process of the transportation of the O2 and the CO2. Just wait for it, and please share it with the friends, so it will be helpful for you as well as for me also, to make me motivation. Okay, so please share it with your friends as well as your like juniors, or the in the other classes also who are in the 11th. So share it with them, and I hope it will help you as well as for them also. Okay, thank you, see you in the next part. I'm going to upload very soon. Okay, thank you.